So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the 71 pages of paperwork needed for one lorry of fish. So most likely these are different kinds of fish on the lorry. It won't be just one type. They do talk about multiple different types of fish, going to different countries within the EU. But yeah, this is the perks of being a third country from the EU. This is how third countries are treated. And as one Dutch guy said, welcome to Brexit, sir. Said something like that. It was pretty funny. It was a good line. Shouts out to that Dutch customs agent or border officer, whatever he was. Real legend. Um, so this is a guy complaining about it, about the customs system. So it's slow, it's outdated, it's challenging in a number of ways we never expected. And so clearly, Brexit in this case was not explained to this person properly, and it should have been because he owns a fish company. His grandfather founded Dorset-based fish merchant Samways 60 years ago, selling fish from a wooden barrow. Today, with Charlie as a sales director, the firm promises to get its fish and seafood from port to plate in 24 hours, which, he might have to change that to 48 hours or maybe 1 week. But extensive paperwork, rising costs, and border delays following the end of the Brexit transition period have put that pledge under threat. Samways buys seafood from 150 local fishermen that operate within Lim Bay. Its most popular products are Dover sole, lemon sole, cuttlefish, and I think that's pronounced plaice, but I'm not sure how to pronounce that one. About 90% of which is exported to France, the Netherlands, and Italy on its a fleet of lorries. So what we can gather from this, only 10% of this person's fish here is kept within the UK. Only 10%. The rest is exported. So if there's any issues with the export markets, then this man is going to be deeply impacted. His business is going to be deeply impacted by these changes. On Monday, Mr. Samways is overseeing the shipment of several tons of these fish, as well as scallops and sea bass. So let's just count this quickly. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different kinds of fish, and also a scallop, which is a shellfish, if I'm correct, which means that has to be processed before it can be sold into the EU. I think I've covered that video already, but shellfish are an issue. Before the end of the Brexit transition period, the process was simple. He says each shipment needed a delivery note made up of 1 or 2 forms and invoices, but the UK is now outside the EU and its customs union and single market, so exporters face a different set of requirements. And it's important to stress that these were the rules for third countries prior to any inkling of Brexit. They might have changed slightly, but these were the key rules in place prior to Brexit. So no one can argue that these are new rules or no one knew about this, because this is what happens when you're a third country. To begin with, British exporters need an ID number called an EORI number. This must also make sure the fishermen they work with have a license to sell sea fish and register their own premises as an approved establishment to do business with the EU. So already you need, I think that's for VAT, VAT when you sell stuff to an EU country. The firm has taken these steps ahead of time and felt ready to go on day one. When the trade rules came in, Mr. Samway said, he said he thought he was ready to go when the trade rules came in, but the day-to-day reality is different, and so it's unclear why he thought that he was so prepared, given that the rules didn't come into, I believe, the last minute of the trade deal, really, when we found out there wasn't going to be any quotas or tariffs, but there were going to be customs checks. So I don't understand how this man could have been so prepared, unless he prepared for all 3: customs checks, tariffs, and quotas. And therefore he felt a bit fine about it when it was only 1: customs checks. So it's not very clear on that one. So here we go, 8 a.m. 2 employees out of 8 in the same way's office now focus on Brexit-related administration. So you've got 2 people out of 8 having to just deal with this. Chris Sheath and Katie Smith start filling out the necessary forms for the lorry at 8 a.m. for each shipment. They must fill out and submit a catch certificate which proves that the fish was caught legally. That involves manually entering on a government website 149 different lines of data that was not previously required, such as the name of the vessel, so say the SS Fishcatcher, that caught the fish and the type of species being exported. This certificate for this shipment is 27 pages long. So it's 27 pages just for the ship name, whether it was caught legally, sorry, and the type of the type of fish being exported. And so we can assume that is for all 6 of these different fish. It takes 27 pages, and obviously he's employing 150 fishermen, and so obviously that's going to be, each boat is going to be needed for that. So that's probably why he needs so many forms. There's some assumptions we're making here, but I think we can make some educated guesses. They also have to get an export health certificate for each consignment to prove that the fish meet EU health standards. Information on the products, such as species and the weight of the fish, is uploaded and sent to an approved vet who has to inspect the goods on site later. So they have to send these pictures to an EU-based certified vet or company in order to make sure things are okay, and then they have to check that later on as well. So you have even more time being taken up. Mr. Sameways is considering recruiting a new employee to tackle the extra forms, which takes until 1 p.m. to complete. So you got from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. That would cost the firm another £30,000 to £40,000 per year. So Brexit has created one job essentially, which is obviously a joke. Because this man might be run out of business, and also he could have put that money somewhere else. We are a family business, and you get used to the fact that you do long hours, but Brexit means we have to put an unholy amount of pressure onto every member of the team. So, you're talking about an extra 30 to 40k because of these new checks throughout the morning. And also, who's going to pay for that? It's going to have to be the consumer. So that means the price of the fish goes up, and that means it's going to make the British fish less competitive in the EU market. Throughout the morning, Chris and Katie, his Brexit admin team, are also talking to a customs agent that Samways has hired. The customs agent handles the new paperwork requirements on the import side and produces a statement of value, which is 2 pages. Samways pays them roughly £200 per shipment to do this. So this will work out to about 50k a year. So this is 50k that this business is costing. So Brexit so far, it looks like it's going to cost him about 100k just for the customs agent and for the extra staff member he may need. They input similar information on the fish and upload the catch certificate to the EU system. Traces NT. They also notify French authorities that animal products will soon be arriving at the border control post, which must be done at least one working day in advance. So you can see how crazy this is, that the fish, by the looks of things, are delayed by a day just because of the notification needed to the French importer. So time demand for conversations all day. So it's taken a whole day just because of the paperwork, alerting the French authorities, this customs agent guy or person. You can see how long it's going to take. So extra cost per entry, £200 per shipment. So 51k a year. So now it's 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, a vet from Sherborne arrives to inspect the fish. They sign, stamp a number each page of the export health certificate, which for this truck is 20 pages long after checking the products. So extra daily admin, 5 hours for this visit, because this person has to actually check everything. Once the vet has watched the truck being loaded and sealed, there are a few final hurdles before the driver can be seen off. The agent must upload all of the signed-off documents to the UK system to obtain a customs barcode, which takes an hour to arrive and is printed out. It is bundled together as part of an export pack for the shipment, which includes the catch certificates, export health certificates in English and in French, the statement value of 22 invoices to show at the checkpoint. This one truck totals 71 pages, and that's for what? All the invoices in French and English, as well as other things. So you can see how many pages it's taken. No pages are allowed to be left blank, which makes sense. Vet stamps and signature must not be in black ink. So you can see the amount of bureaucracy and the amount of care it takes to make sure that things are done properly, because of the amount of paperwork needed, because we are a third country. I don't know if you've missed that one. At this point, the driver gets ready to go, provided they have a Kent access permit, which confirms the correct document for EU import controls before they enter Kent. Each one lasts 24 hours, and they need a new one each time they travel to the EU via the port of Dover. Due to the pandemic, they also need a proof of a negative COVID test taken in the last 72 hours. So obviously the COVID thing isn't really related to Brexit, but the rest of it is. They have to go to the port of Dover or into that area. They need a pass to get there, and it only lasts 24 hours. And we also know that some of these trucks have been there longer than 24 hours because of all the customs checks that are done by the British government, which need to be checked to make sure everything is correct, so the lorry can go through. That takes longer as well. So 5 p.m. the driver sets off from the depot in Bridport. So this is Wales, I'm assuming, or that could be South England. No, I think that's England. To Dover. So the driver sets off to the depot in Bridport at 5 p.m. on his way to Dover. 7 or 8 44-ton Samway trucks made the same journey each week. At the ferry port, the driver must show his customs barcode that was printed off. No barcode, and they may face a fine and severe delays. More paperwork, more bureaucracy. So 10 p.m. After the 10 p.m. ferry crossing through to Dunkirk in France, the driver heads to the border control post. French customs officials inspect the fish and all the paperwork. Samways has faced major hold-ups at the French border, with lorries stuck there for 6 or 7 hours at a time while forms are examined. The firm's transport manager has had time to take urgent phone calls in the middle of the night with updates. So this is, they need a person to really stay up all night to make sure there are no issues with this export. A small mistake or an omission on one form can mean a consignment is held, but Mr. Samways says that a customs agent gets little feedback as to what, if anything, is wrong with the papers. And obviously you've got things like language barriers here as well, because the customs agents in France are most likely French, and his customs agent might speak French in a second language. So you're going to get problems with this. And obviously these French customs agents don't really care that much to give feedback, because they don't have to. All they have to do is make sure the paperwork is correct. If it's not correct, get lost. If it is correct, you can go. So, they don't really care about this. And you could say that, well, the French could be nicer to us. Well, we decided to leave their club, the EU club. So, it's on us. This is all on us. Once any problems are resolved, the French authorities update the EU systems with the outcome of the inspection. The fish are approved for release. The driver continues to their destination. Salmon, scallops and sea bass will reach the European dinner plate on Wednesday evening, 24 hours longer than that was typical before the end of the Brexit transition period. So you can see here that it's taken a whole extra day to get these products to the EU because of Brexit. And that's if everything goes smoothly. Mr. Samway says he initially felt extremely prepared for Brexit, but was left surprised by the excessive amount of paperwork. And that's in part not his fault. I think in a large part not his fault, because we didn't know the terms of the deal until 6 days before implementation. Also, the fisheries minister was having a jolly going to a nativity. So how is this guy supposed to figure out when the fishing minister didn't even know? And he could have talked to trade customs experts. The thing is, they wouldn't have been able to tell him what he would have to do in the case of the various different Brexit outcomes. The only thing they could have really told him about was how much paperwork is needed for third countries, and perhaps he wasn't as prepared as he should have been. But I'm not going to put a lot of blame on this guy purely because we could have stayed in the single market. That's on us. There are a lot of the decisions that we made have led to this. This is not solely on him. This is on the British government, and the British government talking about a £23 million fund for fishing firms to help them may not be enough. And we've seen the costs already. An extra staff member, 40k, he's paying this customs agent 50k, so that's 100k already gone. So how much of this money is this guy going to get, and how much of it is he going to be able to, how much of it does he actually need to sort these issues out? So we're talking about 100k just on two things. He might need a lot more than that. He might need more admin team agents. We don't know these things yet, but the system will become a bit smoother over time as people know exactly what they need, so long as the EU rules stay in place. But we don't know if those could change, because we have no say over those anymore. But what we can tell from this is that there's always going to be this system of you need to upload all of the documents of the fish. You need to have an account first of all with the EORI, I think it was. You have to log all the fish that you've caught That takes hours. You have to get a vet to verify everything. Two vets, so one on each side by the looks of things. And then you have to get it all the other 27 documents done, all the invoices in English and French. So you need someone who knows French to actually translate these things. Then you have to go to Dover. You have to hope everything's on point. You have to hope that there's no massive delays at the over the Dover Calais crossing. And then you have to hope that all your paperwork is fine, and the French customs agents, oh, I forgot, you have to notify the French customs agent, the French border force a day in advance. Forgot about that bit. Also, you got to hope that it goes through the French systems okay, and there's no language issues and no mistakes on our side, and then your stuff can go to wherever it needs to go. This was all down to Brexit, and I feel a lot of sympathy for this dude. I don't know how he voted, but he was, if he voted for Brexit, he was duped. You may have access to more fish, but you've lost your export market. So, well done, you've won. And you've got to remember here, only 10% of this man's fish, catch, 10% of, the fish that this company deals with is kept within the UK. 90% is exported out into the EU. How do you replace a market that is worth 90% of your business? How? You're losing 9 in 10 customers. Any business would struggle if you lost 1 in 10 customers. You lost 1 in 9 customers. Like, you cannot come back from that. It's very difficult to rescue your business in that situation. These funds may help for a while, but they won't be around forever. Welcome to Brexit, Charlie Sunways. Good luck, mate. Honestly, good luck to you, man, because you're going to need it. Because 71 pages of paperwork for one lorry. And you got to imagine how many lorries this man's sending out. I can't remember how much it was. Was it 100 something lorries? I can't remember, but it was a lot of lorries this man's sending out. So it's 71 pages per lorry. And so he's going to have to need a big admin team to deal with it. And how do you get a big admin team? A lot of costs. And so the more staff he needs, the more his costs go up, the more his fish are going to cost, and therefore the less competitive they are going to be in the EU market. Also, he points to the fact that the UK fishermen might just go straight to an EU business that deals with the processing of fish, like we've seen with Scottish fishermen going to Denmark in order to process the fish there. They might do that and just cut him out completely because of all the delays and all the issues, which is something I think he mentions here. Yeah, he says here, he has concerns that delays and extra costs could mean UK fishermen will take their catch directly to ports on the continent, cutting out exporters like him. That's something he cannot afford. So his business, he may go fully bankrupt because of Brexit, because of these things. And, hopefully, this video is as clear as I could have been, is that, welcome to being a third country that, so many fishermen voted for Brexit, in the hopes that they would get more fish. But you could have, the quotas we negotiated could have meant that you got more fish, but you'd lose your export market. So what's this man going to do? Say, for example, if he catches more tons of fish, right? Who's he going to sell it to? Because we would have had things like quotas and tariffs and also customs checks. Who would he have sold the fish to? And that's the point of this video, is to say that the way Brexit panned out was nowhere near what anyone thought it was going to be on our side. On the EU side, they had ideas what it could have been. It could have been a Canadian style deal, which I think in some ways we kind of have now. But I think there are still customs checks when it comes to the Canadian deal. I'm not sure, or the Japanese deal. These are things I'd have to look at. But the thing is, the deal that we got, the bespoke deal that we got, screws over many exporters of meat and poultry. And if anyone argues, like John Redmond, why don't they just sell the stuff here? If they could have sold the stuff here, they would have sold it here, fam. They would have sold it here because it'd be cheaper for them. Bruv, my man, yeah, where's the thing at? Where's that map gone? Could you imagine how much quicker, instead of driving from Bridport, yeah, if you drove just to Dover, or if you drove over here, his business goes, his lorries go all the way to Dover, into France, into Bologna, into Dunkirk, into Urk, and into Spain. Would it not be quicker if you could go up here, into the central areas, so close to where I live, the Midlands? Obviously, there's a reason why they sell to the EU, because the EU citizens within the EU want fish. They like fish, so therefore they buy British fish because we are selling it to them. Clearly, people in this country do not like fish as much as people in other countries, because there would be a much bigger market for it here, considering that this guy sells 10% of his catch, 10% of the catch of the fishermen around him to the UK. The rest go to the EU. So in your tiny, tiny little Brexiteer minds, you need to understand that people in the UK don't eat enough fish for these businesses to be viable. They need to export fish. This is getting painful now. This is getting painful. People need to start, understanding this stuff more better. And if you think this guy's business is a price worth paying for sovereignty and Brexit, then you're a prick, and I hope you lose your job. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.